The earth remembers when everyone forgets. In the previous month, there were deep ensnaring drifts of snow that left the streets empty and silent. Families huddled in their homes, seeking warmth from fires or each other. Weaker huts and hovels collapsed, casting families into the bitter cold. The already meager food stores were gone, leaving them to wonder if they would freeze or starve first. The starvation passed when the king's personal retainers were dispatched to distribute loaves of bread to families. Now, only the remains of fallen huts and the gouged earth told winter's tale. About a week ago, the rains began, gently wearing down the ice and snow, eroding the last of the bitter season. Wooden buckets were placed in the rain, collecting water that would be clean enough to drink. Now the pails and the snow were gone, and only the round depressions in the clay-like mud told of the merciful rain. Rylin was only a boy of 14 years, so it was a simple thing to forget a season's torment. He barely remembered how the generous loaves of bread were never dispersed in previous years. He forgot about cramped muscles or an aching belly. He understood only that the sun was soothingly warm on his lightly tanned skin. It was good to let his wiry legs step so carefree in the streets. The rays of sunshine and the bustle in the streets brought a smile to his narrow face, further creating the illusion of a glow in his brilliant blue eyes. He was here to retrieve a spade and a tilling hoe for his father and a basket of seed for his mother. In previous years, none of these were present. The farmers always used whatever rocks and sticks would break the soil. They often carried handfuls of seed for miles. Rylin's father told him the king won an argument against the nobles on their behalf. King Malaric would do so much more if he could. Rylin's mother added that the king only needed practical arguments that would win over the self-interests of the nobility. The outskirts, as they were called, were a series of huts and low mud hovels nestled a mile away from the edge of the capital city of Pahlinsor. At last, Rylin found a thick throng of villagers. They were surrounding a high-walled cart, warded by a pair of brightly coloured soldiers. They held their halberds loosely as they glanced about with boredom. Between the two disinterested guards, a pair of garishly dressed merchants distributed the promised implements from the cart. Their faces displayed barely concealed contempt and disgust. The merchants' displeasure for the outskirts could not extinguish the sense of relief or joy that filled the air. This planting season would be far easier and more fruitful than any before. There was certain to be excess in the harvest. The farmers might hold greater food stores for the next winter. Men and women were crowded, patiently waiting for the new tools. Rylin was the only child in evidence, and the other farmers allowed him to move freely. They gently urged him forward with a smile in greeting. The other children would be playing in the woods between the village and the fields to the south, staying close enough for their parents' liking. Rylin held few similarities with boys his age. Many of them were his friends, true, but he spent much of his time helping his mother and father however he could. For now, this meant they would be able to find a patch of field and prepare it, while he fetched their implements. They wouldn't be able to do much else, but his efforts allowed them to rest before their toils began, and that was enough for him. Rylin was close to the cart now. He stood still and closed his eyes, allowing himself to feel the pleasant warmth of the sun soothing his scalp under his long, shining black hair. Heat gathered between his drooping patchwork shirt and pants, and his stick-thin body. His skin barely concealed his bones with little bumps of muscle from labor, but that was scarcely different from any other farmer. His hide shoes were so worn and aged that he no longer felt the blisters or cuts from walking unprotected. But Rylin didn't think on the things that marked his impoverished life. It was a warm start of spring. He had eaten more today than the last 2 months, and farming was about to become easier for everyone. It felt like a very promising day to him.
Go away, urchin. I have nothing for children here.
I am here in place of my mother and father, sir. They are making ready a patch of field.
Whatever gets you to cease wasting my time.
He turned, grumbling with annoyance.